All right, welcome everybody to the next 90%. So we wanted to have an opportunity to have you meet the cast, who we are, what our stories are, and what we're all about. So we want to take this away, and so we'll hope you will join us every week and take it away, Matt.
All right. So my journey started actually when I was in grade school. Found out I was ADHD and dyslexic, and it was ADHD and dyslexic when it wasn't cool to be ADHD and dyslexic. Not even the kids or the teachers knew how to treat it, what it was. So it was kind of handled as like a disease. So I got bullied a lot, which made me kind of go into sports as an outlet. Um, but then, so my coaches on the football team decided that they were going to feed me hostess cakes and everything else to fatten me up. Because believe it or not, when I was a freshman in high school, I was 6 foot 99 pounds, and I was about that big around. So they wanted me to do play tight end. So I shattered my left arch as a sophomore in high school, and I went from 99 pounds to 220. But started hitting the weights and turned that into a good foundation and played high school and ball, high school basketball, football, all that, all the way through. But after that, my playing was over. The eating habits were already kind of there, so my weight just kept going and going and going. But so went through a nasty divorce. That also caused it and didn't have a real good outlet to do it in my brain. So kind of fast forward, I was probably 350 to 400 most of my adult after 25 life until 2018 when I was kind of I was on my way to work and a lady swerved into my lane and I tried to miss her into the safety lane and then met a fire truck responding to a fire call and T-boned it. It was a head-on collision, and so I got three bulging discs, broke my right knuckle and it was laying back here in my hand. So getting all that set, was in a cast for like 9 months, I think it was. So um, the three bulging discs, and already had knee problems from years of football and other issues, and carrying the weight obviously was a big one. But then in December, I decided after probably like 3 or 4 years, I was going to just weigh myself. I had weighed myself, really didn't have a place to weigh, but so I got on the house scale and it said over the limit. And so I looked up on my phone what the limit of that scale was, and it was 450. And I'd never been that high before. So luckily, I work for a manufacturing company that has shipping scales everywhere. So I got on it and found out that I was 465 pounds. Couldn't stand more than 10 minutes. Couldn't walk for more than 5 minutes without having to sit down because my back was just totally jacked. Um, so I decided, to start looking into what uh, my options were. Um, with limited mobility, can't really bend my knees that well, couldn't really stand for a long period of time. So started searching the internet and found I was a big DDP fan back in the 90s. Him being a fellow dyslexic, I followed him through his wrestling career and found his DVDs and apps. So I started in January and entered into the Positively Unstoppable Challenge on the 11th at 465 pounds. And to date, I am 145 pounds down as of this morning. And so I'm 30 pounds away from my goal. So I want to be about 290, but if I get down below that, I'm okay with that. But I would like to get to 290. And so good news is using the program and losing the weight. I have no problems with my knees now, and the bulging discs are completely healed. Got cleared with the chiropractor. But in this process, right in the month that I started in February, I slipped down 3 concrete steps and broke my tailbone on 3 spots. So finding this program was a lifesaver because I didn't have to stop the the program at all. I just found ways to modify around it and keep working. I think I'm at like, I don't know, 280 days straight DDPY, and that's with multiple gout issues on top of other things that. But I started in the chair and worked my way up, and so I'm in the intermediate now, but I've had to take a break because of a massive gout attack again. And so I'm back in the chair. So I still haven't missed a day, but definitely it's been a roller coaster ride mentally and physically. So that's it for me.
All right, Erin. Thank you so much, and Erin. What do you got for us?
Well, I've always kind of been on the bigger side. I started off as a young child bouncing on my mother's lap, being sung Aaron Jones' Bag of Bones, Belly Full of Fat. And it progressed from there. I was through public school. I got rather large. And after I hit my teens, it got progressively worse. I had a multitude of symptoms. I went from doctor to doctor and couldn't figure out what the heck was wrong. In my 20s, I was diagnosed with PCOS and endometriosis, which not only will balloon you up rather significantly, but it also contributes to mental health issues, a lot of anxiety, stress, brain fog. A lot of women have infertility from it. Luckily, I was 2 girls, but within this challenge, I've actually been trying to be a bit of an advocate for our PCOS sisters out there, knowing that this is actually possible. So after my diagnosis, I was put on the proper medication, and I was working out 2 hours a day, 7 days a week at the gym, going pretty hard, eating very clean, a low GI diet, and I was doing actually quite well. I started out at 308 pounds at my largest, and I ended up at about 180 pounds after doing all the putting the nose to the grindstone, as it were, and then tragedy struck. Surprisingly, as Matt was 2018. And I was sideswiped by a Peterbilt on the 401 highway in Toronto. And that pretty much ended that reign of fitness. I put the weight on. I couldn't move very well. I lost feeling in my left leg. I couldn't roll over in bed for at least 4 months. And by the time COVID had me staying at home, I could barely make it from my table to my bed to work. I couldn't use my open concept home living room, which was downstairs. It took me quite a ways to get down the stairs, and it was kind of a living room. Christmas that year, Christmas 2020, I was gifted the program, and I really took it to heart. Seeing what other people could do, knowing that it wasn't a huge impact, I actually managed to get through, and I lost 8 pounds within the first week, and just shocked the living hell out of myself. So I decided to stick with it, and I kept going, and I had lost a good chunk of weight. And then end of February this year, I was rear-ended at a full park at a stoplight. So I crumpled the trunk, and again, but had I not lost a good chunk of weight and strengthened my body, I wouldn't be able to move out of that. So that was a very thankful piece. I have yet to miss a day on the mat since December 29th of 2020. Regardless of that car accident, regardless of pulling my back out, regardless of being sick, you find a way to do it. You push through. Because really, at the end of the day, the only person that you're screwing over is yourself if you give up. It's going to be worse. What does giving up give you? Nothing. So from here out, my end goal is to lose another maybe 20, 25 pounds. I would like to get a little bit of a nip in the tuck to make me a little bit more perfect, and help community with my hand down to help them.
Thank you. That's so great to hear. I hadn't heard your story yet, so it's exciting to hear that. And very famously heard Justin's story. I look forward to sharing. What's your story, Justin?
Oh, okay. We'll just kind of skip to where we're at, kind of close to now. I was the big kid, grew up big. Ended up at into 2018 in a very, very bad spot. Probably a little over 700 pounds. I turned the corner corner at 2019. Got my nutrition under control at the beginning of the year. Lost 170 pounds just controlling my food and moving more naturally. September 2019, I added the DDP with Y program to my workout routine, and that helped rebuild a lot of the damage I'd done to my knees and backs over the time. And it also helped me finish losing the next 231 pounds. So by December 2020, I'd lost 401 pounds. And since December 2020, I've been fighting a lot of mental battles. I've sought some pretty deep therapy for some issues that have popped up from the rapid weight loss, and the weight loss was healthy and tracked by a doctor. And due to my doctor's orders, I did seek the therapy. And as of May this year, my PTSD flares were gone. I decided at that point that I was going to get it under control, and so I spent the summer getting my PTSD and several other mental problems under control. And I'm coming out here on the other side of it. So I mean, that's where I'm at, and I'm really kind of hoping through this podcast that I can share what I've kind of gone through from just the manly man part. I keep hearing these tough guys say I can't go get help because I'm a man, and folks, I'm 6'7", 300 pounds, and I was sitting there in a therapist's office crying, like a 5-year-old kid that lost his toys. So I mean, it's work. It's work whether you're losing weight, or it's work whether you're trying to fix your mental. And I can tell you what, the mental work is 1,000 times harder than the physical.
Thank you. So for me, I grew up, I was heavy starting in high school. I gained a lot of weight, depression, a binge eating disorder that I didn't really have either diagnosed until a lot later in life. And so in 2016, I hit the scale at 299 pounds, and I decided I couldn't hit 300. That was my wall. That was my limit. Most likely I was pre-diabetic at the time too. I was feeling horrendous, and just not taking care of myself in the way I could be. So I found DDP, on Reddit. And I liked that I saw that there was literally something like for everyone, like you could do the bed, the chair, whatever. And because at that point, my range of motion was not great. I was doing a dance program. I could dance. You can dance at any weight, but you might not feel good. And so I started to do the DDP in 2016 to pretty good success. But I did hit a wall. I lost about almost 50 pounds, but then I started to feel really ill. I couldn't do anything that I even usually could do at dance class. And I remember being in the middle of a dance class on a really easy song and not being able to move. And I was like, something's wrong. So I started to get diagnosed with several autoimmune disorders over the next few years. And so now I have Raynaud's, Sjogren's, and this is all tied to lupus. I'm most likely pre-lupus at this point. My numbers aren't the worst, but they, unfortunately, we're just kind of waiting to that point. But despite that, I wanted to still keep going and finding, my own way around things. I'm kind of stubborn, so I'm that person that's told no, you can't do something, and then I find a way to do it. And so the Positively Unstoppable Challenge came about, and for me, it was a competition against myself and not anybody else. It was that moment to push myself. So I did it in 2019. I did pretty well. I lost, I think, somewhere around 60 pounds or so. Felt really good about it. And then it came around again because I thought it was going to be a one-off or something. I wasn't sure. And I saw that it was coming around again, and I was like, nope, this is it. This is the year. And then with COVID happening, my job hours got reduced. I had more time to dedicate to this. And so I started running. And so from May of 2020 till about the end of the year, worked up to now running half marathons and, really loving my outlet as a runner. But with the autoimmune comes that balance of there are times where I can get on the mat, I can go for a run, I can do all these things. There's other times where you kind of, Wile E. Coyote, you kind of hit that acne wall and, you got to figure out how to modify. So a lot of my journey now is like, how do you modify? How do you find those ways in your journey? And then I have lost a total of about 120 pounds since my start of my journey. in June of this year, had my skin removal surgery. So I had arm lift, chest, lift, and abdominal reconstruction. So still healing from that right now. But it was a lot of like, okay, you hit that acne wall of the surgery. I was out for about 8 weeks working out and moving. So now I'm getting back into the how do I start over again? You know, where is that psychologically? And that all ties into mental health as well, of like, you know, more recently starting my therapy journey of like talking to somebody about this, because a lot of it was done internally, and now I need to externalize that. I need to talk to somebody about this. I need to figure out, okay, where am I hitting walls? How am I making this work? And so that's kind of the overarching of where I'm at now of I'm post-surgery, I'm post-major weight loss. Okay, but what am I doing for this? Where's my next 90? You know, where is that going? And so that's the kind of the pinnacle and the turn that I'm looking to journeying into with you all here. And, you know, continuing that, you know, social media posting of it every day and holding myself accountable to all of it.
Thanks for joining us on this episode. If you have any questions or topic ideas for us, please reach out to us on the links provided. Thank you for joining us.